What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So yes, Juju Smith-Schuster has become one of the more recent active players, ex-USC players that has joined the Boulevard Ambassador, whatever it is. He did ended up coming out today with like a new clothing line, especially shirt-wise, that had like a limited edition design on it, I guess from him as well. So I guess that's what he's bringing to them as an ambassador. I'm pretty sure that everybody got free shirts that were on the team as well, which is pretty cool. So at least these guys are bringing different things to the table. Hopefully they can bring some more cool stuff to these guys to be able to let them stay longer than they do for like the 2 or 3 years they usually do in college. And then USC football leads the entire nation in total sacks at 24, which is pretty crazy because a lot of times you would expect like one very talented dude to have like more than half those sacks, but really it's pretty much just spread out throughout multiple guys on that defensive line and linebacker spots. So it's pretty great that they're working so well as a team this early. Just got to keep it going this Saturday against a really tough Utah team on the road up there in Utah. So it should be very interesting. And then that post pretty much said to me that Lincoln Riley has the 4th best odds as of this moment to win Coach of the Year in college football. I'm pretty sure they'd like to always give it to a team that they weren't expecting to be as good or anything like that. So I know Kansas, maybe a TCU will get that nod because I'm pretty sure those coaches are ahead of him on that list. But what he's doing at USC is really awesome, especially the fact that he brought in so many transfers, like 30 to 40 plus brand new guys that weren't even new to the program or even to him. There are some guys that he ex-coached, but not all of them. So that's just great what he's been doing, but hopefully that makes more success in the playoffs. And then both ex-guys from both my teams, Onyeka Okongwu from USC and Jalen Johnson, they were both ex-first-round picks of the Atlanta Hawks who are still on the team, and they were recently, their options were exercised from their rookie contract, so they will be given another year after this. So it's pretty cool that they've been able to stay on the same team for as long as they have, but I'm pretty sure they kind of want Jalen Johnson to maybe move on because he hasn't really lived up to his first-round talent yet, but they had so many first-round picks that year. I think they had like 3, and he was like the one later in the first round, so he's been needed some time to get going anyways because he had some injuries. And then Okongwu is usually a very talented guy coming off the bench who is in a lot of times trade talks as well. So it's another good guy to keep on your roster just in case you need to make a trade for someone else. And then a couple of guys, especially 3 players that are committed to USC coming in 2023. A lot of them moved up finally at least 2 moved up officially in the top 247 to 24/7 Sports on their list, which is pretty cool. Wide receiver Jacoby Lane and interior offensive lineman Micah Banuelos. That's good for those guys. But Quentin Joyner, the running back who's been committed to USC for quite a bit now, he was already in the top 247, but he actually moved 70 spots because of how good he's been doing this year in high school. So that just making USC's class look even better towards the end of the season, at least ranking-wise, and definitely giving them the respect that they deserve. So I'm happy about that. And then, yes, on to some more miscellaneous news. There wasn't much sports today, but a lot more miscellaneous news. So apparently Hulu has ordered Taika Waititi to pretty much come out to help direct and produce a show called Interior Chinatown, which is based off a best-selling book that came out in 2020, I believe. And I haven't really read much about what the story is, but they did say it's going to be pretty serious drama. So it's kind of weird that you do get Taika to come in to help direct and stuff to kind of push the story and the way the directing style is to go forward. But they also hired Jimmy O Yang, who's a pretty talented stand-up comedian, Asian guy, who's most likely going to be leading in this series. But it also is kind of interesting, unless he wants to do like a different turn and become a more serious actor. It should be very interesting, but maybe it could also help if they add a little bit of comedy. But I would like to see how it would be the story if it were the way it was presented in a more serious, dramatic form. So definitely very interested about that. But of course, once again, Taika Waititi helping out the other people other than white people get TV shows, which is pretty cool. And then when it comes to Brendan Fraser, as I've heard him say this before at like Comic-Cons or different conventions like that, but pretty much officially said it that he would be open to coming back to doing a fourth Mummy movie in the franchise. I believe even after that third one, which wasn't really that great, and especially the fact you didn't bring back Rachel Weisz either as his wife, they had like a 3-picture deal that they were maybe going to do, and then they eventually ended up doing the Tom Cruise one that came out in 2017, and he wasn't invited back at all, and they kind of went more serious and scarier on that when it really wasn't that scary and not as fun as Fraser likes to say. And you think that's what helped his movie, especially the first two, is that it was an adventure, it was fun, a little bit of thrills here and there. But I know, in my opinion, the director, I like Steven Sommers, but he does rely a little bit too heavily on the computer graphics and CGI, especially at the time. He tried to be like one of the first guys to pretty much do a lot of that, and he did a lot of great stuff, especially in that first Mummy movie. But when you get to the second one, there's a little bit too much, and then even his G.I. Joe movie, the first one, there's a bit too much as well when you could have scaled back a little bit. But yeah, overall, this will be great. I know he's getting a lot of Oscar buzz for his movie he's going to have coming out soon called The Whale. And, you know, he's pretty much the front runner, as they say, for winning the Best Actor nominee. So that should be pretty cool to see how that movie turns out. But will they have him come back? I don't know. Physically, he's not there 100%, so I don't know if he could, but maybe just as the wacky father at the time, helping out these guys, or maybe a future version, an updated version of it, like he's the line, way down the line, you know, Brendan Fraser, the same character, whatever, and nowadays could be very interesting also. But you never know. Could happen. He could be a side character in the next movie, next Mummy franchise movie as well. You never know. And when it comes to Tom DeLonge, yes, he, after a couple days, have settled that he was in Blink-182 again. He kind of went publicly. Well, he first did this privately, thanking Matt Skiba, who was the ex-guitarist, in between the time that he's been gone from Blink-182, and thanking him pretty much that, you know, keeping this thing going and putting everything you have into this and being such an awesome person and all this good stuff. And he said he did it privately at first, but he wanted to publicly do it so people know that there's nothing bad in between any of them. There's no like bad words or, you know, bad vibes at all. It's all a bunch of love and everything like that. So yeah, it is kind of publicly giving you a pat on the back, I guess, because it is something positive you're doing. But overall, I guess it was a nice gesture in the end. And then there was also that video, or that little picture that came up saying that the 3 things that the members have survived. So of course, Mark Hoppus recently survived cancer. Travis Barker survived a plane crash, which is pretty much how they all came back together, the separate times for Blink-182. And then, of course, they said Tom DeLonge survived an alien abduction, which, I don't know. He made music in between that time, so I don't know how he was really abducted. But you never know, I guess. So we'll see. And then when it comes to, yes, the final thing, yes, sadly, had the news today that our own Hagrid from the Harry Potter franchise, Robbie Coltrane, he did some other stuff too. I believe he was in a James Bond movie as well. Seen him pop up here and there on some other things I've watched. But yeah, he sadly passed away at 72. Sucks, because he was definitely one of the more memorable characters of the franchise, playing a very tall, giant Hagrid, especially around all these little kids and going to the wizard school, whatever. So yeah, it sucks to hear that. He was really good in the franchise and definitely going to be missed. And of course, like one of the more recent things I was able to pick up when we went to go watch the movie in theaters, they had these like 20-year posters that I'm eventually going to get framed and put up. But yeah, there was Hagrid right there, the big hairy guy. So yeah, just sucks to hear about the news. And obviously, he's in a better place. But yeah, definitely will be missed. So thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Fight on.